So if you're going to ask a question, okay, then here's the rules. Is one, you can't ask for like any personal things. Don't ask for like an autograph or don't ask for a hug. We're okay then? Don't ask any questions about politics. Ask your one question, then once your one question is done, you go sit down. If you'd like to ask another question, you go ahead and just get back in line and ask your second question. And the next one is no storytelling. I'm sure you have some amazing stories we want to tell, but we want to hear from Joey. So we all okay with that? All right, everybody, check this out. Please give you a round of applause for Joey Fatone!
Good morning and happy Easter, everybody. It's early here.
It is.
What are we doing here?
We're so excited to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Oh, I love your jacket.
Thank you. Yeah, Warriors.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing.
I didn't know that. I realized I wore the jacket. Seriously.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
So how's Indiana treating you?
Wonderful. Fantastic. Obviously, it's been that great that I'm losing my voice. So
Yeah.
that's good. So I'm talking to a lot of people out there. It's just been fun. You know, it's been a blast. And obviously, the hospitality's been great. So.
Oh, awesome, love that. All right, by the way, you guys don't know this. Joey, your autograph is on one of my best friends. You signed his leg.
Yeah. I
In
did.
Salt Lake, and
Okay,
he
what?
got it signed, and then that night he drove and got it tattooed on his leg. So
That's
yeah.
dedication.
It was fantastic. All right, so we have a few questions here. We'll start with the question right over here.
Sweet.
Hi, Joey.
Hello.
My question is for you. Way back in the day when you worked at Universal,
Uh-huh.
you were the werewolf, correct?
That's
What all
correct.
did you do with the show with as a werewolf exactly?
I was a musical review. That's how funny this was. Universal, of course, has the Universal Studio Monsters. It's the Werewolf, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. Who else? Phantom of the Opera. What happens is it's called the Beetlejuice Graveyard Review Show. And Beetlejuice would transform into these monsters into rock and roll. So I was a werewolf to where basically we had to sing and dance on a live show in 95 to 100-degree weather because there was no coverings. It was a shed. And there was no, it was legitimately outside of Orlando, Florida, Universal Studios, but did that for a while. But yeah, it was great, it was fun, hot, I'm gonna lie. So that maybe prep me for the rabbit. I think for Master, because it was ridiculously hot. But it was fun, yeah, that's what I did, sang and danced.
Right?
That's where, at your start,
Yeah.
that's where you were discovered for Nsync.
Yeah, we basically were, you know, I met the guys, met 2-3 of the guys, and I was like, hey, you know what? I sent them like this crappy demo tape, and I said, listen, why don't you come over to Universal? I'll show you what I do. This is kind of what I do in that, I mean, I'm a werewolf, but, you know, picture me dancing, jumping around and singing. So yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And
Next question.
Hey Joey,
what's going on?
by the way, I love your episode for Tell 'em Steve Dave.
Oh, thanks, man.
My question is, so you being close with the guys from Baraka Jokers, Q,
Who?
what are your thoughts on people wanting you to join the cast now that Joe left?
Yeah, no, it's pretty interesting. I mean, hey, it's the same name, so that's good. They don't have to change it. But you know, it's flattering. I think depending on what they want to do, and I think they're just keeping their core. But what they've been doing is, of course, the new season that they have, they're bringing celebrities in, and people that always want to work with them. We just wrapped up the after party right before we flew here. Me and Murr went together in New York City, shot the after party show, which I hosted. It's kind of like a wrap up party. So if you ever see The Walking Dead, there's The Talking Dead, very similar kind of thing where we talk about the episode. But they came up to me, they gave me, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. They gave me a check, and I was like, what's the check for? It's redeemable for a full episode. So basically, if you see with the celebrities, they only do like a challenge or two. I'm doing the full episode, so if I have to get punished, I get punished. So yeah, we do one episode, so we'll see what happens. Maybe they like it, maybe they'll keep me, but right now it's been fun that they've been welcoming to do something like this because they've never done that before. So probably 9 times out of 10, we probably get punished. You're gonna figure out a way to get me stumped a few times so that I'll be able to get the punishment. So see, I'm nervous. Trust me. The day they told me the next morning night, I couldn't even sleep. I'm like, I gotta do it.
Awesome, look forward to it.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
You do so much. You sing, you act, all these things. Like, what is your passion? Like, you started off in singing, And then you just started doing acting.
I think my passion is performing. It doesn't matter what it is, where it is, how it is. I think just for me, I just love performing. It's just fun to be in front of an audience and get that instant reaction. You know, but when you're doing films, it's different. But it's interesting because you do the film, you think some of the things are funny, but you never know the reaction until the people see the film. So, you know, with concerts and shows like that, it's a lot more, I guess, gratification in the sense to get that reaction right out of the way.
Now, Dan Farr, the owner of the
Man, Dan's awesome.
yeah, he said something to me, and I want to verify if this is true.
Okay.
He heard that you actually filmed a little cameo, but it ended up getting cut for Star Wars.
Episode, yeah.
Yeah, episode 2 and the Jedi.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That is 100% true. It was myself, Chris, and I believe JC, and my brother actually was there with me. And we went to ILM Industrial Light and Magic,
Yeah.
and we knew some people that were there, but they were like, hey, we stayed over in the Skywalker Ranch. And then the next morning we walked over to ILM and saw the things that they were shooting, like, hey, would you like to be a part of this? Because usually they'll get extras or people that work at ILM to do some of the background shots,
Yeah.
and they'll add people in there. So the Clone Wars scene, and I think there was the scene where Yoda, and you have Ewan McGregor, and Yoda's walking, floating in that little hover thing.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be in that hallway, and then we were supposed to be in the fight scene. And they cut us out.
Oh.
But it's so funny because I'm trying, I've been like asking, like, where is the footage? Because they have the footage
Yeah.
somewhere. And they even documented, I remember there was a camera there, George Lucas was there, which was awesome. So I can just say George Lucas directed me, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, George like that, I can help. But it was one of those things that was just surreal. It was fun, yeah. And I'm trying to figure out why I want to get that freaking footage. I don't know where to
Was it surreal to see George Lucas in person like that?
Well, we met him before a few times actually. When he was doing the audio, the editing, believe it or not, for episode 1, he flew. I think we were in San Diego or something. Him and his daughter flew in to see the concert. So we have there's a video. 2 of us have come. My brother documented everything back in the day. He was always like a videographer for us. So there is definitely footage of it, like where George is standing there, we're talking about something. Like, what does he do? I was like, oh, I'm doing the editing for that. Like, that's awesome. But like, we don't care about your daughter. I'm sorry. Tell us more, George.
Yeah.
And you know, his daughter's like, we want to take a picture. I'm like, of course. But it was just fun. It was really cool that he came out. And I've been to the ranch probably like 2 or 3 times, and it was awesome. We did Robot Chicken. We did actually an episode of Star Wars, the first Star Wars episode of Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
I did a couple of voices for us. So they brought all of us out to Skywalker Ranch to watch the episode in the theater there. But then the surprise was he came out, George did again. It was like, hey, since you guys are here, it's the anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. So we watched Empire Strikes Back in the theater, which was awesome. So much fun.
That's amazing.
It's cool.
Hello.
Hello.
In the beginning of your career, how did you get over stage fright? And do you still get stage fright after all these years?
The funniest thing, and I'll never forget this. Two times I've actually been like almost stage fright where I legitimately pissed my pants. I was my first thing, the very first. I was young as heck. My dad did these shows. I went to Catholic school, and they were doing like plays and things for the church to raise money. So my dad, you know, was heavily into the arts and stuff. I was like, you know what, let's do this play about movies and music, and there were clips of like different like scenes of different movies. So my scene, I was very young. I can't remember, probably 5 or 6 years old. I was Pinocchio, so I had to hide underneath this counter thing, and I was so nervous. I think I did seriously piss my pants. That's another story. But the other time that I really got, gosh, it's always like the first performances of a show that I kind of get nervous, but I never got stage fright. But when I was in high school, the very first audition, I chickened out. We do like a Shakespearean play, a one-act play, and a musical in the year of school. So when I was a freshman in high school, I went to go audition for the first play. I got scared crap, I didn't do it. Second play was the one-act play. I was going to audition for that, didn't audition for it, and I was like, oh my gosh! I'm like, I have to do it because I want to perform. But I'm like, why am I so nervous? Because I think it was because you think about the rejection. After a while, as you get older, of course, when you're younger, you're thinking about it. But after a while, you have to start thinking, even if it's a rejection, it's a great learning tool. It's a great learning step of going, okay, so you didn't hire me, so what did I do wrong? You know, it's that kind of thing. You think, well, let me work up on whatever I need to work up on if there's something wrong. So over that, I don't know, just from doing improv as the years go on, I have no fear. Don't care. It's like, let's act, let's go, let's roll it, what's happening. You know, that kind of thing.
Do you still get it a little bit? Do you still get a little bit?
When it's yeah, of course, like the first initial stuff, or if you really sit there and you go, oh man, I don't remember that line, and it's coming, you draw a blank and you go, oh my God, here it comes. It's happened before. I did Rent on Broadway, and there's a scene right before a song called La Boheme where I hold up a camera and literally it goes, like everybody sings La Vie Boheme, and then the light just, everything gets dark and it's only on me. I'm supposed to deliver some lines. I stood there and I went, and then I just hear people laughing behind me. The cast is laughing because my brain went blank. All I said was something about a fire on a wall that made no sense. And there's a lot of, we call them rent heads. It's all the people in the front row, they've actually won tickets and they see the show over and over again. So I'm looking for them to feed me a line as if they know we are. Nobody gave me anything. And I was like, fires on the wall and something about some kiss. And yeah, and everybody just started cracking up behind me. Oh, and then, you just gotta roll it off your shoulder, just go with it. It happens. It happens. So,
Do you feel that when you were being the werewolf? I'm assuming that can help prepare you for when you were in sync and the dancing, the performing, because your concerts were huge.
yeah, it's one of those things where what you see is what you get. You're putting in the work. We, especially with Nsync and even just shows in general, we put in so much work where there's times where we're critiquing ourselves. There were times that on tour, maybe not many people know, but after every show, we would have VHS tape back in the day. We would videotape it. They would have the cameras. We'd videotape everything, and then we would watch it on the bus as we're going to the next city. And be like, okay, well, you were off there. Move over here. Your vocals were a little off there. Make sure we do this. And we would just critique each other, almost like a football game when you're watching, the plays back, and you go, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Same thing. So we rehearsed, we critiqued each other. We corrected stuff and just made it try as perfect as we can.
Did the dancing ever affect your singing? Because it seems like,
Oh yeah, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there were sometimes, again, there are notes that are flying left and right. They're the greatest because we're dancing, huffing and puffing. I mean, it happens. It's life. And I think that's why it was really good, because a lot of times you see solo artists that do take breaks and stuff like that, but since we're a 5-guy group, JC and Justin did a lot of leads, it was switching it off, so it made it a little bit easier, I would say. But yeah, I mean, it's a total cardio workout. A lot of times when we're doing the rehearsals, we're talking the words through just to keep the breathing going. Not to say we're, if we're marking something, we do everything without the music. We kind of sing through it, because when you're just doing the choreography and then you add it with the vocals and then you add it with the microphone where you have to switch hands if we're doing something else, it's like, okay, how do we figure this out? And it's just a slow process. We just speed it up. It's important.
how long did it take you guys to learn all the choreography?
Back in the day, when we first started, it took us probably about 2 or 3 days, maybe sometimes almost a week. But then towards the end, we were doing like a song a day. We were learning pretty much a song a day. Yeah, we were the choreography, learning it, okay, and then the next day we would add another one, or sometimes we do 2 dances depending.
Wow, amazing.
Well, speaking of your boy-band days, did you feel like when you were in Nsync, you had to maintain a specific, clean image? Even though, you were a grown adult,
Yeah, right. It was weird because at the very beginning they kind of kept that, because in Europe, boy bands were popular before we came over here. We were in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, gosh, for about 2.5 years. And that's where pop was really huge over there. Over here was more like grunge in the States. So there was an image over there that it's the clean cut, everybody wears the same clothes, and that's it. But we wanted to become that in that sense because of our name. We were in sync, so the style and everything. But as we kind of got the same thing, as we got older, we had different styles and different flavors, so we just started changing up when we came into the States. But there was always that, we were in Germany, you could be 18 years old, I believe, to drink. Of course, me, JC, and Chris were the 3 that could do that at that time. But we didn't, and we were at Oktoberfest, and we didn't even do it. We just stood there going, okay. Because they're like, well, you don't want to drink, you might. They put that in our head like there's an image in the sense of, I'm not even saying being a bad boy or anything, but just an image, and you're kind of like, okay, well, you're not supposed to say I have any girlfriends. Why not? Who cares? I mean, in a sense of, yeah, I get it. Women are going to have that dream, but even though they're still going to have that dream regardless of wanting to be with you or date you or whatever the case may be, just hang out with you. So it was interesting that whole kind of weird thing, but then as we started to obviously get older, I mean, I was with my girlfriend, or my ex-wife, gosh, for almost 10 years, dated 10 years, married for 10. So it was that kind of thing to where, there were certain times that we didn't say much, or we just said, hey, I'm single. Meanwhile, my girlfriend was behind me. So it's one of those. It was one of those things that, again, at the early stages. But as we got older, as people get older, you kind of understand the whole thing about it. You go, you know what? I admire that person for that music. Yes, he's a good-looking person, something like that. Maybe one day that's the dream if he gets divorced, which I did.